Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast today. I am Moona Kitsune,
And I'm Espen.
and today we're going to be talking about The School for Good and Evil by Mr. Soman Chainani. I hope I'm saying his name correctly.
Hopefully. I know I always wonder how to pronounce his last name and I always feel guilty about it. But yeah, just to quickly say, this will be part of a series. There are 6 books plus some like graphic novels and obviously the movie. We're gonna have an episode per book. We're gonna split it up though, so you're not getting just a whole bunch of this, and you will have some break episodes in between. But aside from that, Happy New Year's, everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year's indeed. Happy
Hooray!
2025.
I know, crazy, right? Way to start off the year with a bang. But yes.
Alright, shall we
I
jump
hope
into it, or
everyone's
shall
New
we... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say I hope everyone's New Year's was great and that you're not too exhausted, which we probably will sound exhausted because we're filming this right after New Year's.
Yes.
But
I
yeah,
was literally watching Rin Penrose's Happy New Year stream right before doing this, so...
I was sleeping, so.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's jump into it.
Should we just jump into it straight away, or do you want to give people a bit of a rundown about what the School for Good and Evil is, like we did for the Grinch?
Rundown. Okay, I'll give a little rundown. I'll make this up on the spot. All right, School for Good and Evil. 2 girls, Sophie, Agatha. They're really great. They're best friends, right? And basically, Sophie.
Well, at the start, they're not
mentioned,
best friends.
They were best friends at the start. They were the only people that liked each other because everyone else didn't like them. Remember?
Oh yeah. Wait. Remind me. Is today the book or the movie?
Both.
Ah, yeah. Okay. I thought in the book it was different. I thought in the book, Agatha didn't like Sophie at the start.
Agatha thought that she was slightly annoying, but they were still friends because nobody else in the town liked them because Sophie's a bit narcissistic.
Yeah, Sophie's just a bit. Well, it's Sophie.
And
if you've read the book, you know what I'm on about.
And Agatha was an ugly weirdo, so you know so they were kind of the outcasts. And Sophie, because she's narcissistic, she wants to go. There's like this bookstore they both go to, and there are certain books that come and are labeled from the School for Good and Evil, and basically like once a year. Oh no, it was every few years, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think what it was I think every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. Every few years, basically, some of the children get like kidnapped, and there's this whole myth that they get taken to the School for Good and Evil. It's supposed to be like a joke, but like Sophie believes in this, and she's like, I'm gonna get taken. I'm gonna.
Don't they explain in the book that that is actually what happens? Like by observing through the books, they actually find out that is where the kids are going. They're ending up in the fairy tales.
Yeah. I think for some of them, yes, but for some of them they thought it was a joke, though. In the town, it's also different in the book and movie. Like, in the movie, they're all pretty like, yes, oh my god, protect. They're like, I think in the movie they're more, actually, sorry, the book, I think they're more like, oh my god, yes, protect the children, guard them away, because there was like a whole scene where they're discussing, like, locking their children up so they can't be taken. But in the movie, I feel like they were more like joking about it. But yeah, Sophie wants to go to this school and become a princess. And so she sneaks out at the night to try and get taken. And Agatha chases after her, being like, no, this is ridiculous. And they do get taken, except Sophie doesn't get put in the School of Good. She gets put in the School of Evil, and Agatha gets put in the School of Good. Yeah. And it's
because everyone in the town, or the town's called Gavaldon, by the way. We didn't say that.
Gavelon.
Everyone in Gavaldon thinks like, oh yeah, we hate Sophie, but she's the good one out of Agatha and Sophie. Yeah, because she was pretty.
But yeah. So
you could sort of see the dilemma here, guys.
Yeah.
The one that's supposed to go to good, allegedly, ends up in evil, and the one that's supposed to go to evil, allegedly, ends up in good.
So it's basically just them trying to survive this year at this school. Agatha wants to leave, but Sophie wants to stay. There's boy issues with an idiot who I absolutely hate, but we'll get to that.
Flashbacks
yeah.
to the Tedra scale mentioned in the last podcast.
Yeah. All right. I think is that summary enough?
Yep, that's summary enough. We're 5 minutes in. We got to start
cool.
that 50-minute
Okay,
timer.
cool.
Let's go. Jumping
We're
into it,
start right
guys.
now. Let's go. All right. The timer is on. All right. Would you like to start off with your costume points? Because I saw some stuff about the costumes.
Yes. Oh
the
my
movies.
god.
Before we rip into the movie, before we rip into the movie and the book, we're going to talk about the good things first, okay? All right. Go for it.
The costumes in the movie, they were so good. Like, oh, that montage when Sophie was just like turning her outfits into like these absolute like beautiful fashion pieces. Mwah, beautiful. I was in love. I wanted those outfits. They were gorgeous.
One thing that I was happy about was in the book, if you guys have seen the movie, it's on Netflix if you haven't, there's this like scene where she like struts down and she goes to get her finger pricked with like the key to like activate her magic.
Oh my god, that was so badass.
In the book, that dress actually has like a giant magical like sequiny F on it, because just before that she got graded with an F, and this is a huge large F came on her top of her head, and like she was like, oh, in the sad section, oh my god, this is horrible. But then she was like, no, actually, screw these guys.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
glad they didn't put the F on the dress in the movie.
Did they even include the grades in the movie at all? Like, obviously they did, but like in the way they didn't do it in the way the book described it, right?
They did it minimally. Like, I know that they had like, I can't actually remember exactly now that I'm thinking back to it. I just watched the movie. I do remember like some scenes of the stuff popping above their head, but there wasn't like as much focus on it, because it was a very, very important thing in the book, because, you know, they got graded and then that led to the trial by tale, which they fucked up in the movie.
Yeah, didn't they make that also the, they made it something else. The trial by tale also ended up being another thing.
Because they made it like Sophie had to test to like fight for Tedros' love or something.
Yeah.
Which I didn't like. I
didn't like that either.
Version. I understood why they changed it though, because it would have taken forever to set that up. But yeah, and he got a movie deal instead of honestly, every single book I think should be a TV series deal, not a movie deal.
Or like a series, or like a different season. Each season is a different book. That would be,
Percy Jackson's going down that way. The first book is the first season. The second season will be the second book. It provides more time. But yeah, I think it would have suited better as that, because I really loved.
Plus, you would have,
favorite things.
Yeah, blah 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 blah. What was I saying? If it did end up being a series, then they would have had time to expand on a lot of different things, and also they would have gotten to include stuff that they had omitted from the books in the movie.
Yeah. 100%. Because one of my favorite things was the scoring and the grading, and the big leaderboard and how they all got moved up and down the leaderboard.
And then like if you were like the top of the class, then you would be like, what was it, the leader or something?
Yeah, basically.
Class captain or something. Hester wanted that position so bad.
So bad.
And she got so pissed at when Sophie wasn't even trying. Sophie was literally just failing, and she was doing so good. And then she started trying, and then she started doing bad.
One thing that I did like, though, that they did change from the book to the movie, because obviously they had several events in the movie, like they had certain events. One of them was originally the book called The Snowball, but the Snowball basically was an Evers thing. So basically all the girls had to go get a boy to go to the dance with, otherwise else they'd fail. The boys, though, if they didn't get a girl, they'd be fine.
Yeah, that was one of my points, actually.
Sexist, but whatever.
Yeah, that was one of my points. I don't think that's fair. Yeah. I don't think that's fair at all.
I just want to say, though, that I liked how they changed it in the movie from being the Snowball to the Evers Bowl, because because it makes more sense, because the Snowball insinuates that it's some like general thing when it's not. Like the Nevers,
it wasn't. The Nevers, they didn't even get anything like they didn't even get like a Nevers version or anything. It was
To be
just
fair though, imagine the Nevers participating in a bowl. We saw it in the movie because Sophie obviously enacts that at the end.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. That's one thing that I liked was the name change from that. But the fact that they still kept it in, like the whole idea of that.
Well,
Also,
yeah,
they
it was a
like
very
rushed it.
important point in the
Yeah.
book, so you would kind of hope that they keep it in.
Yeah, but they did cut a lot of stuff out that I think could have been deemed as important. Like one of the things, like they cut a lot of stuff out that I didn't. But we'll get back to it because I don't want to seem like I'm being bad because I do just want to say we love this book series. We do have our quarrels with it, and we do have our bits where we're like, oh.
Yeah.
Like you do of everything though, with such a long book series, there's always going to be parts where you're like, I'm hating this right now. Like, once again, coming back to Percy Jackson, I love that book series, but there were definitely parts where I was like, I don't want to finish reading this book.
I
But
think for
we
me,
do.
look, I'm just really holding off on reading it because I cannot be bothered to read. I still haven't finished it. I think I'm on like the fifth or the sixth book right now. And I am on the sixth
Yeah.
book. I just haven't finished it because I haven't been bothered to read it.
But yeah, I look when I only think the thing is I really just wanted. There were a few books in this series when I was reading there I was like, but then like the book before it was really good and the book after it was really good. It was kind of like hit or miss with certain
Yeah.
parts, so that's why no matter what I kept on like pushing on and reading it. And I was glad that I finished it. But I do just want to say that I do enjoy this series. That's why I'm trying to get through the good points first before I rip into it. But I just want to say because we don't hate this series. This is not a thing where we're just gonna bash it into the ground. The author did amazing. So
Truly, it's such a great book. You guys should read it.
one of one of the ones I had here was the wish fish scene in the movie.
Oh yes, the wish
The
fish.
way they did that.
They did that scene so well in the movie.
Yeah, it was just so magical. I loved like the whole like the whole like fish like climbing up her arm, like the swelling and the magicalness of it all.
Yeah, same.
It was so well done. Amazing special effects. Yeah, another one was Lesso. I like how they aged her down.
Yeah, I don't know why
when she's
the way they described her in the books, I don't know why, but the way I pictured her in the books, you know Ever After High, right?
Yeah.
You know
Ever After High.
Yeah, I know. What a stupid question. You remember Baba Yaga from Ever After High?
Yes.
That's what I pictured her to be, but like,
yeah,
I think they described her as being bigger in the book, right?
In the book, yeah, she's like,
yeah,
she's the headmaster of the Nevers, and their entire goal, like, they want to be gross and disgusting, and they want to look bad in the book. Like, they are driven by looking disgusting. Like, they literally have a ugliness class where they're all like, yeah, let's go and look more ugly. Let's get warts all over our faces.
And then Sophie was the only one that was like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically that's what I pictured Lady Lesso looked like in the books. Yeah. Baba Yaga from Ever After High, but bigger.
I was envisioning Snow White, like the evil queen in like the decrepit form.
Oh yeah, the old lady.
But yeah, she's like meant to be in the book. She's like this, like she's old. They tell her she's old. I won't talk about it now, but there's a scene in a later book where I was like, oh my god, wait, Alesso and Dovey in love? And so when they like aged her down in the movie, I was like, wait, are we actually gonna get Lesso and Dovey? Because like you have the little banter between them.
Yeah, and then at the end they what do they hug or do they almost hug?
I think they actually hug, but like they give each other little side glances.
Yeah, and then they're like, yeah. I find it funny when like they hugged and then they were like immediately grossed out by it.
Yeah. I love them, but I appreciate the Asian because it also to me made more sense additionally with like they made her movie. I'm not gonna say spoilers because you know what, the movie's been out for how many years now, and you guys are watching this for spoilers. But in the movie, Lesso is actually one of the children from Gavilan,
Isn't
and
she in the book
she
as well?
becomes her mistress. Sorry?
In the books, isn't she as well? Like, isn't it?
In the
I
books,
feel like
the person who she ended up being, no, in the books she's not, but in the books there was a person from the town. There were a few of them that they saw in the storybook who had become fairy tale characters, but then there was also some that just disappeared and never saw of again. And the one that they actually changed into Lesso originally in the book was turned into failed and was turned into one of like the fairy helpers.
oh
And there's in the scene at the book at the very end where Agatha comes out and she like transforms all of the, because in the book and the movie, but they really show it more in the book. Basically, if you fail out of class, you
yeah,
become
you get
like
turned into like
you become
yeah.
either a wolf or a fairy helper for the opposite school, which they changed a bit in the movie. And I was like,
They
oh,
even have like
okay,
in one of the
but
books, like, you know, if you do like so bad, then you turn into like a bush.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I think I remember
But
Kiko was described to have. Was Kiko turning into like a bird or like a bush? I just remember someone being described as like having branches and leaves and stuff.
yeah, I remember that as well. I can't remember who it is for some reason. I think it wasn't in the first book, and I haven't
Yeah, it wasn't
read
in the
every
first. I think it
other
was in the third
reread.
book because the second was, like
The
boys
boy was
versus
turned into the
girl.
girl.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then there was, and then the third book was with Rafal again.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, I really appreciated that they made Lesso actually somebody from it because it gave sorry, once again, spoilers for later books. I know I said we'd only be talking about the first book, but at the end of the series, Sophie becomes the headmaster, and I really liked the fact that Lesso's character was from Gavon because it gives Sophie somebody to look up to. Look at this person; she was just like me from the town, and now look at her now. That's what I want to be, you know? It
Yeah.
gives her like fire to like somebody to look up to. And I hope that they go with that in like future movies that like Sophie's trying to like follow under Lesso or something. You know.
Back on track to the
But yeah.
first book. So we talked
Yeah.
about the costumes. Oh, I'm just looking at my notes. I have a lot of notes about the movie. Oh, I didn't.
I feel like yeah, but it's basically the same. We're basically talking about what we liked and didn't like. I feel like we've gone through all of our good points.
Yeah.
But
But there was
yeah.
there was truly so much good about the book. It's just
Yeah,
disappointing about like how much didn't get transferred from the book to the movie.
yeah.
That I think for me is one of the most disappointing things because there were just so many good things about the book. And I was so
There
excited to
were.
see them in the movie, and then a lot of that stuff just didn't get included, and I got really sad.
Yeah. Would you like to go through that stuff quickly? Because I know
The
that you had like lots of points on that, and then I'll
yeah,
get into my complaints.
the flower grounds. I'm gonna start off with the flower grounds. So
Yes.
to dumb it down a lot, the flower grounds are basically like an underground train way. Think of like the subway, guys. Okay, right, the subway, but it's flowers and underground. But
I
literally
always
like in the dirt and stuff.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I always envisioned like the flower ground like train system to be like flying foxes because it sounded like basically the way you described it in the book to me, it
Yeah.
sounded like they were like sitting on like flower shaped flying foxes. And they like zoomed through underneath the ground to get from point A to point B.
Oh, I thought they described it as like the vines or whatever. Like the vines were like just holding them randomly. Because I think like one of them was
Yeah.
wrapped around Agatha's torso and the other one was holding Sophie by the ankle or something.
I always imagined it like being like on a flying fox, but yeah, I would have loved to see that in the movie because it would have been so cute. Even if we got like one small little scene where, because they did lots of like walking
Yeah,
around, and
there
if they
was
just did,
actually they did use the flower ground as like a main mode of transportation around the school in the books.
yeah, and it would have been fun to have seen them like even just one scene because in the movie they do like lots of like walking around, but
Yeah,
like, and it's like they couldn't have used they could have just done like a quick like peek or like they didn't even mention it. Like even if they like mentioned it,
yeah,
I would have been
not
happy,
even a
but they didn't even
mention.
mention it. And it was a very very fun part, and it's yeah. Oh
That was very disappointing. Not because it was such like it was so important, and it's especially important in later books as well.
yeah.
So you got to think like if they are, oh, I hope they make a sequel to the movie. As
I
much
hope
as
so.
I have,
I'm pretty sure I saw something about a sequel, but like the actors are getting older. Like if they leave it again like really long in between, they're gonna be like 30
mm,
by the time they finish.
yeah, that is the problem. But yeah,
But yeah.
it's such an important part in later books that like and with all the differences and changes that they made in the book in the movie to the books, and then all the twists and turns that come in the later books, you got to really wonder how they're going to change it in the movie to make it work with like what happens in the book. Like they're probably going to have to change a couple of things, but the part with Agatha and Sophie, if you know what I'm talking about, you gotta like think,
Yes.
yeah, how are they gonna make that work? How are they gonna?
I hope they change it and they give us something different, which I'll get to when we do it in the third book. And I'll talk about what I hope happens. But yeah, if you've read the series and you know what we're talking about, then you know what we're talking about. But if you don't, a few weeks, you'll understand what we're talking about. But yeah, there's some things that I would have changed it.
Yeah, I probably would have kept that part the same.
If with the actors they chose, I think that they and the way that they've morphed the story so far, I think that there's ways that they could change it and still make it work with the actors and not make people upsetty spaghetti.
Yeah. Oh my god. Could you? Oh, remember? This we were talking about this age. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because I remember we were talking about this ages and ages and ages ago, and we were just like, so how are they gonna do that? Are they gonna like? Are they gonna? Yeah. I don't want to spoil it. I'm just gonna text you.
Tedros. But yeah, we'll get more into it. There's probably gonna be an entire like 15-minute section of it during the third
podcast
part of this series.
Yeah, podcast series. Yep, words.
And we're probably gonna, so we should maybe like leave that section to the end because it is at the end of the book as well, so it's fitting. But yeah. The other thing I saw here that I also was like it didn't even cross my mind for some reason until I saw that you had it written down here, but the magic barriers.
Yes, the barriers were so important. So basically there's a bridge. Okay, the two schools, for those of you who don't know, right? The two schools are giant castles connected by only a bridge, singular bridge, right? And on that bridge, there's a magic barrier in the middle of the bridge that keeps the good and bad, like the good and evil students from crossing schools unless for school events. Like there were parts in the series where they would go to the other school for like what was it? Give me an example. Like the talent, the circus of talents.
Yeah, the circus of talents.
Yeah.
Also, they had like some like duel sessions.
Yeah.
Where they had to like learn together, like where they had to pick who was the ever and who was the never.
Yeah. Oh, surviving fairy tales. The class. That's what the class was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was...
Tedros did something really dumb.
Oh, bloody Tedros, mate. Anyway.
I'm leaving Tedros talk till the end because I'm probably gonna rant for
Yeah,
10
we're gonna
minutes
go
about how
off.
much I hate him.
But yeah, the
They had barriers.
they had barriers they were like invisible barriers, keeping you from crossing into the wrong school. Quote air quotes wrong school.
Yeah.
And Agatha literally had to outsmart them. So in the barrier would be a reflection of yourself. But that reflection would tell you like, oh, you can't go here, you're good, so unless you're evil, you can't come here. Agatha, in almost all of okay, I remember at least for the first two books, Agatha did have to outsmart the reflections quite a couple of times.
Yeah, and she actually did it. I remember I've actually got it here because I was just flicking through to get something for later. But with the gargoyle, I've got it here. So literally, this gargoyle tries to stop her from crossing, and she's like, no, no. She's like, I'm a student, and the well, actually, no. This is what after it finds her in the other school, is it?
I think
I
so.
can't remember now. I think a gargoyle potentially finds her in the other school. Yeah. And she's like, no, 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 I'm a student. See, I'm an Ever, and like points to her face because she's apparently super ugly. And the gargoyle gets confused.
Yeah.
Which is, it's stupid because it's like, it. Honestly, I did like the gargoyles in the movie a bit better because they did seem more smart.
Yeah, they're definitely.
And more scary as well. Like they didn't just like listen to what anybody said and just stop. You
Like,
know?
I remember.
They did their job and they did it.
I don't remember what she said in the first book, but I remember for the second one, um, like the boys and girls one, I remember that Agatha told her reflection, "Oh well, yeah, I'm actually a boy because I've kissed a girl and girls don't kiss girls, right?"
I
And then
forgot about that.
yeah, and then the reflection was like, "Wait, she got a point." And then it just
The
let Agatha
days
go to the next
before.
school. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, when I read that scene, because I read these books like a year ago, and when I read that, she was like, I literally, I was like, I died. I was like, yes, definitely. There are no girls who have ever kissed another girl.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Anyway, reflection kind of homophobic.
Hey, if it
But
works, it
yeah,
works, you know? You got to trick that
you know,
reflection to
if
get
it
to the other
works, it
school.
works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the reflection thing. It also would have been able to show what the actors how they could act, being able to like portray like an alternate version of themselves.
Yeah, I was actually really looking forward to that in the movie. But then when Agatha literally just ran across the bridge, I was like, well,
I
well, that's like, what,
know.
excuse the F-bomb, but
We
like, what the
also
fuck? I was like, what the fuck? Was the reflection?
also I'm gonna make you cry in a second.
Oh
It
no.
meant no cockroach Agatha.
Yes, no cockroach Agatha. That,
So they learned the Evers learned how to like transform themselves in the book. They learned how to like transform themselves into animals, and Agatha literally could only transform herself into a cockroach. And it was hilarious because she'd sneak around the Nevers school as a cockroach
and she would
to
help
go speak with
Sophie.
Sophie.
Yeah, and it's like she was
Yeah,
literally helping Sophie
do
with all
good
of
in
her
her
classes.
classes.
Because I think what
But
did
yeah,
they think for Tedros to like her, she had to do good in their classes and stuff. That was like one of the things they had
yeah,
to do to get
because
Tedros to
she
like
had to
Sophie.
show Tedros. Yeah, she had to show Tedros that she could be the top on the leaderboard.
Yeah. Hester did not like that.
Tedros, ugh, I can't stand it. But yes, also did you? Oh, I saw. Oh, you did write it down. It was part of your notes. But the tower, I can't find it in the book now. I literally found it the other day.
Oh my
But
god, guys, the tower. Okay, okay, before we go on to the tower, I just want to say back to the bridge just really quickly. In the movie, they described the bridge as being like super, super long, like a super long bridge. But like
yeah,
in the movie, it was like a couple of meters at most, maybe 3 meters. Maybe not even 3 meters, maybe 2 meters.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like even on like when you see it in the movie, like I've got the movie cover book because I was saying that I wanted to get the series, and my sister thought that she'd buy the book for me, but it had the movie cover because the movie just came out. And like literally the bridge looks so tiny.
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
so
no
small. In the book, it's like they
um
describe like a couple of different, because depending on which book you're
like
reading.
a gaping.
Mm.
They described it like there was like a gaping chasm between the two schools.
Yeah, and like
But
let's say for example, it's like, you know, the Evers storming the Never Ball, right? You see them literally charging
yeah.
across the bridge. In the book, they're literally charging across that bridge as if like an army to start throwing punches and stuff, right? But then in the book, it's just like a bunch of teenagers just going for a jog because the bridge is so small.
Yeah. But yeah, I I just the bridge and I don't know if it was like maybe because I had like limited space or
That's
whatever.
probably it. The
Obviously
set, they probably didn't have
rent
enough
out,
space for the set.
you know, they have to rent out these spaces, and also like with editing stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of disappointing because it's like this like even on because there are like maps in each of the start of all the books. Like even the
Yes, there
bridge on the
is.
map.
It's like
It's
it
like
goes
this
across
like
2 pages, right? Doesn't it? It goes across the 2 pages.
yeah. And it's like this extravagant like it looks small because it's a tiny map, but like it's very like extravagantly like done up. Like it looks like a like really pretty like done up bridge on one side and like a falling apart discarded one on the other. And yeah.
Yeah, going back to the tower now. What was it? The headmaster's tower. I'm pretty sure that was what it was called.
The schoolmaster's tower.
Yeah, the schoolmaster's tower, that's right. Yeah, the schoolmaster's tower. There's no stairs to get up to it. It's literally just think Rapunzel's tower, right? Literally just a tower.
It's in between the two schools, by the way.
Yeah, which is why the reflections are important, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's literally just up there. The only way in is through the window, and that's super duper high up, right? So how are you supposed to get up there? You can't just go up. There are no stairs to go up. And in the movie, right, there was a door, and it was super low. And yes, there were stairs, but like, okay, I think it is cool how they made it like air out of air. But I still think it's kind of dumb. Because there was this whole thing in the book where like they're trying to find a way to get up there, and they end up like turning into birds or whatever, and they fly through the window, but it's just, I don't know, it felt so uneventful the way they did it in the movie.
Yeah. They just literally step off and then boom, a staircase.
And it's like what, 4 or 5 stairs high?
Oh yeah, it was
wasn't
pitiful.
Even yeah, it was truly just pitiful. And then like the schoolmaster himself. Okay, so evil. Okay, I know what I want to say. I'm just gonna think about in what order I want to speak words. So there was not always one schoolmaster. There were two. There were two brothers. And one day they had a fight. They okay, so like you saw at the start of the movie, they used to do like sparring matches and stuff, but one day one brother was like, nah, let's fight to the death. And one was like, no, I don't wanna do that. We need to keep the balance. But this is actually important. Keeping the balance is such an important part of the School for Good and Evil world. Feel free to chime in with anything, Espen.
Yeah.
But Yeah. So, yeah, these two brothers were fighting, one dies, but no one, literally no one knows which of the brothers actually won.
Yeah, they just assume it was good because good has been winning in all the fairy tales.
For
So basically,
200
the fairy
years.
tales in this world are real. They're the actual real stories written by the historian. As things go by. So Snow White was happening to somebody, and as it was happening, their story was getting written. And what you figure out is that this actual book that you're reading is actually Sophie and Agatha's book. So their story is being written by the historian, which is what you have in your hand.
Yeah, and the Storian, for those of you who don't know, is basically like this giant magical feather. What's it called? A feather tip pen? It's yeah,
Yeah.
it's a giant feather pen.
It's a quill.
A quill. Yeah, thank you. Words. Yes, it's a quill, and it's enchanted. It's magic. I don't want to. Okay, there are they get it. Oh my god, words today fail me. What a great way to start the new year. In later books, they explain more about like the story and the mystery behind it, but I'm not going to get into that. Not today, at least. Basically, it's a giant magic quill, and it writes stories in real time as they're happening.
Basically. In the most simple.
In the most simplified.
Oh shoot, we have 18 minutes.
Okay, what's the next point we can talk about? I know we got some more.
I just want to quickly point out, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically each of the schools has their school values, right?
Yeah,
So
and that's what like the dormitory
has,
towers are named after.
Yeah. So they have School of Evil has Malice, Mischief, and Vice 3, and the School for Good has 4. It has Purity, Honor, Charity, and Valor.
Yes.
Why don't they have the same amount?
A great question. A great question.
I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Possibly. If we are forgetting one of the names of the towers, guys, do let us know in the comment section down below.
No, because I'm looking at the map.
Oh, you're looking at the map? Oh.
So that's all. But I feel like, because they have the honor tower to the side, and here's the thing, I was like, oh, is that, because remember how like one thing gets transported between the side if the school wins?
Isn't that, no, that's the headmaster tower. That's the schoolmaster tower. It follows the pen. Or is that not what you're talking about?
No, remember with the Circus of Talents, like whoever wins the Circus of Talents, they like get something?
Yeah, wait, you're right. They do get something. I don't remember what it is though. If you guys would know, if you guys remember what it is that we are missing, yeah, comment down below. Let us know what we're missing, and we'll talk about it in the next episode. But also subscribe.
Yeah, on to the next point. So we still have our 10 whole minutes to bullshit on Tedros. Where is it? Here. My bad things. The things that I didn't like from the book to the movie.
Alright, buckle up, guys. This is where shit gets real.
My main thing was Sophie. Now look, Sophie in the book is evil perfection. She sees herself initially, she's a bit narcissistic, she sees herself as this like amazing, she's a goddess, she's perfect, she's a princess. But she immediately takes this hit when she gets sent to the school for good and evil. And part of her growing her confidence back is her, like, she truly becomes evil. Like, she gets taken down and basically she tries to act good.
She's like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm good. I'm supposed to be a princess.
Yeah. And Lesso wasn't having that, so she ordered a wolf. Lesso does it in the movie. She cuts her hair off, but in the book, the wolf.
Oh, this is one of my points, actually.
And she's put in this torture chamber.
It's called the Doom Room.
The Doom Room. There you go. And she gets hurt because she has these long, luscious blonde locks, and
just like a princess.
This is how I know I'm This is how I know I'm a princess. And the wolf chops it off. And she
Sophie did not like that.
Enraged by this. She takes the wolf walks outside after doing it. She gets so enraged by the fact he cut off her hair. She chases after him, mind you, she's like how old? Like a child?
Like,
And
what,
this is like
14 or
a
something at this
wolf
point in the
guard, like
story? 14 or something, I think.
yeah, she's young, and this is like a fully grown, like bulky wolf guard.
Yeah, this guy's like, what, 6 foot something?
She pushes him to the ground and holds him underwater and drowns him in this river.
It was at this moment he knew
all because of
he fucked up.
all because of her hair. But yeah, it was like you at that moment when I heard that bit in the movie, I was like, oh shit, because like
And her reaction
she
was
is
so
truly evil.
Yeah, like her reaction in the movie
In her
was so
heart.
dulled down.
Yeah. And I feel like in the movie, like she's still trying to be perfect, like the perfect princess for Rafal.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't, like, she is truly like fully evil in the book. Like I feel like they just kind of got rid of that in
Yeah,
the
and
movie,
they
you
didn't
know?
really portray it as strongly as they could have. Like, it was such a great opportunity, but they just didn't.
Like she just in the movie seems like a honestly a popular girl who like would bully kids, you know?
That's pretty much the vibe you get from it from the movie.
Yeah, the other one that I wanted to say was additionally something that showed just how evil she was that they got rid of, and I was so mad because I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited for this scene, was the Golden Goose scene. So there's a class that
Yes!
the Nevers have, and they have to try and steal the golden egg from the Golden Goose. And Sophie decides, I'm good, so I'm gonna persuade it. So I'm gonna make it talk to me. And for a golden goose to talk to your head, that's like very like you're special, like you're the purest person. So when the goose talks to her in her head, she's like, oh, am I good? And the goose is like, no, you're pure evil, and literally kills itself and the egg.
Yeah, bro,
It drains itself of its magic.
literally the goose was just like, holy shit, she's so evil. And then it just unalived itself. It unsubscribed itself from life.
When I read that, I was like, damn.
That goose was not having it. That goose was like, I've seen some shit in my time, but this is a whole different kind of shit.
One of the other things I was like, why the fuck would you get rid of that? I was like, I literally almost considered stopping the movie once I realized they had gotten rid of it. But Seda, they removed Seda from the
yes,
movie.
bro. Seda was so important. And they just...
And literally in the second book, it's his sister. So, like, how are they going to do the second movie
Yeah,
if they do a second movie?
Exactly. I mean, in the end, technically she's not really blood related, but it's still very important.
Yeah. Also, literally missed opportunity. The Braille book scene would be so freaking cool in special effects. Because
yes, oh my god, yes. Because they're like, it's holographic little things. Because he's blind.
Yeah, he's blind. And so basically he's blind, and he also like what is he again? He's a
seer. So he can see the future and stuff.
And so he sees the future. And so he like paints, and he also writes books about it, right? But he obviously does it in Braille. But basically his Braille books are magic. So if you rub your finger along the Braille, it like reads it out in his voice, and then slowly like the place around it, the book transforms into real life, and you like see it, like you see what's being written in the book as it's narrated by him.
Yeah, and
as if you were there when it happened.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then, oh, we can't talk about that. That's going to be spoilers for the next episode. But
yeah,
it's such an important part of the story and like the events of the entire series that like
it comes back every single book.
It really does. In every book there's mention of Sada. How do you pronounce his name? No one knows. Sada. Yep, Sada. He's so important. He's mentioned in every book. So him just being removed from the movie, they didn't even come up with any kind of replacement for him either.
No, because also the reason he's so important is he was kind of like a mentor for Agatha, aside from Dovey, because Dovey was sort of self-absorbed. But Seda, like, he had an understanding with Agatha, and so she always kept on going back to him with his books and everything. But he dies at the end of the first book. He transforms, he takes up the spirit of the good brother, Because, sorry, it turns out that the brother who survived was the evil brother, and he's the headmaster. But the reason that good kept on winning still was because the good headmaster put a curse, so that only good could win. And Seda absorbed that magic and became the swan on the front cover, like the white swan, and helped defeat until the next book, Rafal, who is the evil brother. What's the good brother's name?
I don't know. Did they ever even tell us his name?
Does he even have a name?
I'm sure in the books.
They must, because there's a book about it. There's a prequel book.
Yeah, there's a prequel. So there must be a name.
One, actually.
I don't have that one, so I haven't read it.
I'll look it up right now,
Actually, don't look it up. Hey, viewers or listeners, whatever we're going to call you guys, if you do know the name of Rafal's brother, tell us in the comment section down below. And if you're enjoying the podcast so far, what are you doing? You've listened to like 46 minutes of a podcast and you're not subscribed? Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We post almost every fortnight. Not the game. Subscribe and tell us in the comments what you guys think. And that's the little YouTuber part. Back with the podcast.
We have 9 minutes, so I'll quickly get through this so we can get to Tedros complaining time. But just to quickly sum off what I had left, I had here that if there was no book, it was just a movie, it would have been amazing. But because it's attached to the book, it dragged it down. That was one of my main points, because you know they got rid of lots of. Obviously, you have to remove stuff when you transform a book to a movie, but I felt like they got rid of the crucial stuff. Like one of my favorite examples of a book into a movie that was good was Hunger Games. Like they did remove stuff, but it wasn't like super crucial. But they kept the main points that drove the author's message, and they just removed all the crucial points, I felt, from the movie. But if it was a standalone movie and it wasn't tied to the book, like there was never like there's a universe out there where the book was never made, it was just a movie, amazing. It was very entertaining, very great, like costumes, design, and everything. And it was very visually stunning. But because the book is attached to it, it tears it down. But yeah, that was the last of my comparison notes. Just speaking purely about the book quickly before Tedros. One thing that really irked me in the book, the one thing that I was like, oh, in the first book, was the evil schoolmaster Rafal. He portrays himself as this young man to Sophie to convince Sophie to marry her at the end, when he's actually a decaying old man.
Yeah, no, that's just but the
And I was like, why are you preying on them children?
Yeah.
Like, why are you an old man who wants to be with a 14-year-old? That's kind of a bit
if you think about it in terms of Rafal's goals as a villain, it makes sense because Sophie is like peak evil, right? But
yeah,
that aside, it's kind of
yeah. One of the things though that I forgot about until I was obviously doing like my rereading and my flicking through was that when Sophie does actually get convinced to kiss him at the end, because he like sets up basically she's basically gone full evil at the end, like she's turned all ugly, and she's become pure evil. And then she like sets up like a bowl for the Nethers. I'll go through this really quickly because you have 6 minutes.
Didn't you want to rant about Tedros?
That's why the Evers come to attack, and then Sophie eventually she makes the Nevers look pretty and the Evers look ugly, and she leaves to climb up the tower and go marry Rafal, which is what he wants so he can take power back. And when she kisses him, like she starts like decaying, like they both start like decaying and like dying there.
Yeah. I'm sure they explained why that happened, but I just don't remember. Do you remember why?
No, when I was flicking through, I was like, oh my god, wait, when did this happen? I don't know why it just left my head, like I just completely it left, but yeah. That was something that was like really like scary to me. But yes, Tedros. You know what? We might actually go over 50 minutes today because we're 5 minutes. And I'm gonna break out Tedros, and there's still one more point after that I want to make. But Tedros. Now, Tedros, he is King Arthur's son, who is
Very
like the head
important.
dude. Except he's not very important because he's a little king shit, and I hate him.
Well, I mean, the fact that he's King Arthur's son
Tedros.
is important.
Oh, he thinks he's so precious. Look at me. I'm Tedros. He's infuriating and he's dumb and I hate him. Okay, he's a blonde boy. He's a dumb blonde. I hate him. So basically the entire time he keeps on flipping between, oh, I'm going to be with Sophie, oh, I'm going to be Agatha. And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Just pick
Like,
one.
keeps
You
on,
get
going
one, not
between
both.
them.
Yeah. Oh
Exactly, because he thinks that Sophie's like really really pretty because she's supposed to be the pretty one, and Agatha, he gets attracted to her though because of her personality. But then he's like, oh, but like Sophie, but then like, oh, but you're nicer, Agatha, but then oh, but Sophie's really really pretty, and yeah, and literally after at the very end when the Evers attack the Nevers bowl that they set up, Sophie says to Tedros, Agatha's part of this, like she's actually evil. And then Tedros literally turns around after like having this whole moment with Agatha and being like, I love you, be safe. And it's like, oh, they're actually gonna be together. And he's like, you are evil? And he just believes Sophie off the bat.
Like, he didn't even question it either.
And tries to shoot Agatha. He tries to kill Agatha.
And then there was another thing as well with that. In the movie, right, I get that, so like we've established. The Evers and Nevers, right, they all change, like the Nevers look pretty, the Evers look ugly. I think the worst they did to Tedros was maybe give him a very unnoticeable scar in the movie. Other than that, in the color of the costumes changing, they didn't really sell the ugliness factor for the Evers turned Nevers on specifically Tedros. Also, they removed his dumb blonde privileges. Not that he ever had any, or he ever should have any, but in the movie, he's not blonde.
Yeah, it was his only personality trait, and they kind of just ripped that away from him.
But I do think that, like, the actor they picked for the job did a pretty good job.
Oh, very talented.
At the very least, they could have given him a... could have given him a wig.
He pulled off Tedros' awful personality perfectly.
Yes. The actor... look, again, we're not shitting on the actors or the okay, maybe a little tiny bit the writing of the writers, but not the writers themselves. We do adore the series, okay, but part of that is acknowledging its faults.
Yeah. But Tedros, I could complain about him in every book. He doesn't ever get any better. Like, the entire time, even though he literally gets with Agatha, he just gets worse, and he's still like, okay, sure. And he does just dumb stuff, and I'm like, Agatha, why are you staying with him? Like, you're better than this.
Exactly, like, what is... I don't see anything in the books that is keeping Agatha to Tedros.
I know. Yeah.
That's my confusion.
I think the last... We only have a minute and 30 seconds. One last thing I wanted to say was at the very end of the book, Sophie sacrifices herself for Agatha. So Raphael tries to kill Agatha, and Sophie jumps in front of it, and Agatha and Sophie like starts dying, and Agatha saves Sophie with a true love's kiss, literally, because that's what it is in fairy tales, right? And that's what they're part of. She literally kisses her mouth to mouth on the lips, and then Sophie's alive, and then you're like, oh damn, okay.
So yeah, so then you're like, so they're gay.
Are these two gonna drop and like drop Tedros and like leave together?
Technically they do leave together, but then, well, we'll get into that in the next episode.
Yeah. But yeah, because even though it was written like a bit earlier, like the author has always been very like inclusive. That's one other thing I want to point out though, is that with, I think it was like, is it Dot or Anna? We have 30 seconds. We might go over. I don't really care though. Oh well, slightly over.
It's making up for the lost time in previous episodes.
Yeah. Was it Dot or Anadil that was albino?
Anadil in the books is described as albino.
And that's like to it would have been really great to see an albino actress playing that character, but they didn't do that. They just replaced her with
Maybe they
somebody
just
entirely
couldn't find
different.
one.
Yeah, maybe. But also I feel like some of the time, like, this is no fault to the actors, but some of the costuming I was like, okay, you could have gone a bit further with the ugliness. Like some of it was just like crazy. Like the outfits just looked crazy, but then they still looked very visually pretty. It's like these once again, the Nevers were driven by being ugly. Like they wanted to be ugly. Like there's several comments in the book where they're like, yes, I'm gonna eat all this so I become overweight, so I look like this, so people are scared of me when they
Dot
see me, so I can
especially.
be the
I feel
best
like,
villain.
look, again, not crapping on the actors at all, but just Dot in the book is described as overweight and a larger character, right? So in the movie, she wasn't. So because Dot's whole character is like she can turn stuff into chocolate, and she just loves
Yeah.
chocolate and stuff like that, right? So I feel like there was a lot of missed potential for Dot in the movie. Because
Yeah.
did Dot even ever speak at all in the movie? I don't think she did.
Very rarely.
Yeah, so that was my little point about Dot. Again, nothing against the actors at all. They did a very good job. Just
and they played maniacal people very, very well.
Oh, Hester's actor especially. Oh my god, Hester. We didn't talk about Hester.
We didn't. Well, we can talk about Hester and the other ones.
Yep, it's
but,
yep.
We can come back to it. Luckily, this is a series. By the way, if you
like and subscribe.
Now that it's at the very end, but I was just gonna say I'll create like a separate little playlist section just specifically for any series that we do.
Okay, so I think with that note, we might end it off here. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. We post every fortnightly, or at least we try to. We have a Patreon page that you can sign up to for free, for the price of $3.99. You can join our Patreon page and you can recommend us stuff to do reviews on, podcasts about. It could be books, video games, movies, literally anything. We'll do our research on it. Go join our Patreon for free, again for free. Also, go subscribe to all the members of Eternia V. So, Espen and myself included.
They will be linked below. Everything is in the description.
Yep. Calypso Mystica, Blukey, and Ackle as well as the group channel. And I think that's really everyone involved in Eternia 5. There's no one else's channel to plug. Yeah.
Also, maybe we could put a link to our interview. We just did an interview of Eric Loy interviews.
Yes, we did. We did just do an interview with Mr. Eric Loy. Go check that out. If you
guys would like to go see that, I'll put a link below so you
guys can find that. It's not a podcast, so for the podcast enjoyers, go check out Mr. Eric Loy.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.